Hello everyone! In today's video I am going to go over the EG4 ground mount solar racking system that I used. They also call it the BRIGHTMOUnt. Okay, so the other solar arrays that I built for my outdoor kitchen I built using wood. But for my house, I need something that can hold a lot more panels, larger panels also. So I started looking at ground mount systems. I don't want anything on my roof. I have a metal roof on my house. I don't want any holes put into that metal. And I have plenty of land here, so I figured I would build a ground mount. So I started looking at different systems on the market, and I came across the EG4. So I ordered 2 sets of it first, and then I ordered another set like a week later. So I'm going to show you in this video how I set up 2 sets of them, and I joined them together. They sell some like splicing units that you can buy, and it will connect your ground mounts together. You'll see. So one of the reason I chose this is price. It was like $279, but I did have to pay for shipping because I bought it from a company called Concurrent, and they were the only ones in the United States at that time in April of 2024 who actually had these in stock. Everybody else was sold out until July. And I just checked today, and it is July 10th, 2024, and those other companies still are waiting for their stock to come in. So had I waited for the free shipping, I'd still be waiting to set up my solar system, and I wouldn't be enjoying my free power right now. So I don't regret having to pay shipping. It wasn't that much anyways. So one of the reasons that I chose this system is that each set that you buy will support 4 solar panels that are 44 inches wide or less. But remember, you can buy the extensions. It's like $12, and you'll get 2 extensions to add on I think like 6 inches more to your rack system. So if your panels are a little bit larger, that's one way to do it. I also love this system because it has an adjustable angle on it. Now in the book it says 25 to 35 degrees, but the new racking system, which I have, you can adjust it 25 to 45 degrees. Okay? And also, I live in Texas, and as of making this video on July 10th, we just had a hurricane hit us. Now, by the time it got to us, it was a tropical storm, but we did have wind gusts of 70 to 90 miles an hour. It was a little bit scary here. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but wait until the end and you'll see. So this ground mount system can take winds up to 105 miles per hour. And it's backed by a 10-year warranty by the company EG4. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so this is how your boxes will look when they arrive from FedEx. Now they are heavy. It was a bit heavy for me to lift those. They're about 100 pounds each, and I had to use my gorilla cart. So as you can see, I've moved them from the end of the driveway and brought them to my garden. So where you see the black weed cloth, that is normally where I grow my garden every year. But this year I'm growing a solar garden. So this is where I will be setting up my solar arrays for my house. The solar array that you see in the background, that's the solar array that I already built last year, and that goes to my outdoor kitchen. I have videos for that, so go watch them if you want to learn about it. So pictured here is a list and pictures of all of the items that will be included in your racking system. Okay, so you will see us put all of these items together. Now where it says the leg group, there's actually pieces in that leg group that we will have to put together. So let's start doing that now. So here are the items we're going to pull for our leg groups. So let's get all of these items pulled from our box and our packages and lay them out. All right, so let's go over some of the items we will need to build our ground mount. We have rack rails. There should be 4 of those. You'll be joining 2 of them together for the top and the bottom, and that is going to be what we mount our solar panel to. So where it says the main beam, that is actually the main beam of our leg group, okay? And then we have the telescoping leg, and that is our leg that we are going to adjust later for how many degrees we want our solar array to be. You can go from 25 to 45 degrees. And then our large leg, and then our base. Okay, so the only other thing we will need for our leg group is our large and small U brackets. All right, so let's start building these legs. Okay, in this picture, I'm just showing you visually how you're going to place your bolt, and then the washer, and then the 2 washers, and then the nut. And pay attention to the direction in which it's facing, okay? So this is how we're going to bolt our large and small U brackets, and we are going to connect these to our main beam. Each main beam will have 1 large and 1 small. Okay, so you should have 4 main beams, and each one will have a large bracket and a small bracket. So let's connect those now. All right, guys, so now that we have a large and small U bracket attached to each of our main beams, the next thing we're going to do is attach our large leg and our telescoping leg. So I did set the degrees on my telescoping leg before I attached it to the main beam. So you can go to Google and look up solar panel tilt angle calculators. So these calculators are all over Google, and they'll tell you how many degrees to set your panels at according to your latitude of where you live. So you could do it like I did and look at my latitude, and it's 30.5 degrees. That's my overall angle if I just want to set my panels one time and not change them throughout the year. You can change your panels from spring to summer to fall to winter to different degrees, and changing your panels will maximize the wattage that you can collect. But my solar array is so big, I would have to virtually disassemble the whole thing to change the angle every season or whatever. So I choose to set my angle at my latitude. My latitude is 30.5 degrees, so I will set my legs at 30 degrees. That's where they will stay year round. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do it. All right, so now that we have set the angle on our telescoping leg, of course, mine is set at 30 degrees. Yours is going to be whatever your latitude is for your address. Look that up on Google. Okay, so let's lay out our main beam and lay out a large leg and a telescoping leg. Notice the large leg goes with the large U bracket, and the small U bracket will go with the telescoping leg. And then pull out your bolts and nuts and washers, and you'll need a socket and an Allen wrench. And let's connect these together now. Okay, from here on out, I want to say that we are only going to hand tighten our leg units. So when we put on our large and small U brackets, we went ahead and tightened that to the main beam because that is not going to be adjusted. That needs to be tight. Don't over torque it though, okay? In the manual, I think it's 115 pounds of pressure. So when we attached our large leg and our telescoping leg to our large and small U brackets, we are only going to hand tighten those bolts, okay? Because we are going to adjust our racking system when we build it, and it's better to have all the rest of the pieces from here on out only be hand tight so that you can get everything level and set, and then you will go back and tighten everything down before you install the panels, okay? So I wanted to tell you now so that you don't tighten everything and then have to untighten it all later. Okay, so let's get started. All right, guys, we almost have our legs finished. All we have to do now is attach the main base. Okay, so we have our large leg and our telescoping leg, and now we are going to put our bolts on and attach it to the main base. Now, you will notice in the video that the large leg has 2 holes in it. It will match up. There's 2 holes on the main base. And then the telescoping leg has 1 hole at the bottom, and there's 1 hole in the base. So it's pretty easy to match up. And then let's go ahead and get out those 3 bolts and put it together. Yay, our legs are built. Okay, so we should have 4 legs built. Now our next step is to attach our L brackets. These are going to hold our rails that go across the top and the bottom of our racking system. These are the rails that we will be mounting our solar panels to. So pay attention to the direction that you have your L brackets mounted onto your main beam. It does matter because these are going to be holding our rails. Okay, so I have to say that I do not have a picture or video of me attaching the rails together. So please refer to the manual to see how to attach it. It's very easy. They give you a splicer. You're just going to slide it on the end of each of the rails and then tighten it down, and that's going to hold your rails together, okay? I'm sorry it's not in the video. Very, very sorry. Okay, so let's do our next step. Yay! So now you know how to put your rack together. It's so easy, guys. Okay, so basically I put my rack together, and then I took some spray paint and I marked on the ground where each leg is. So in the manual, you have to measure 51.5 inches from the center of one leg to the center of the next leg. So I made sure before I put my rails on, and I did that just to stabilize my unit so that I could mark the ground of where I'm going to put my railroad ties. So I have everything spaced equally at 51.5 inches on center, and now I'm taking spray paint and I'm marking the ground where each leg is, so that I can roll the unit back and then have railroad ties lay exactly in the right spots, okay? Okay, so something I forgot to mention is that the railroad ties are 9 feet long that we purchased from Lowe's. And we cut 24 inches off 2 feet. So now they're 7 feet, and then the 2 feet we cut off is put on top of the railroad tie. So that is anchored with like 10-inch screws, 4 of them on each all the way around, so 2 on each side of that 2-foot section is now it's anchored to the large railroad tie beneath it. Then I took string and I ran a string line all the way down, okay? So right there is 8 legs. I did end up doing 12, but in this video I only have pictures of the 8. So I ran a string line, and then my husband bought bolts for wood that are really big and thick and good, and he screwed those bases from the leg down into the railroad ties. Okay, so now that all of the leg units are bolted down to the railroad ties, now I put the top and the bottom racking rails on. Now, nothing is tightened down yet. Remember, I told you at the beginning, after you do the U brackets, after that, it was all finger tightening, remember? So remember, it looks a little wavy here because it's just finger tightened. So now I had to go get a level and level the rails, okay? And so as I leveled them, I tightened things, okay? So you got to tighten it once you get it all mounted and then you have the rails on. Then you will start tightening it and getting everything straight and aligned. All right, so now that I have my solar rack built, everything is tightened. Woohoo! Guess what time it is? It's time to open the solar panels. All right, so I ordered some Aptos 370 watt bifacial panels, and I'm super excited here, okay? So let's get these open and start mounting them on our rack. Okay, so to mount our panels, we need to get some of our hardware out. We need to find our end clamps. Now, EG4 is very nice. They included several sizes for however thick your solar panels are. You'll just go through the box and look for the size that fits the thickness of your panels. And then you will have to find the mid clamps, and those are the clamps that you're going to use to hold 2 panels. It sits in the center of 2 panels, and then you tighten it down on the rail. Okay, so let's get our hardware out. Okay, so it does take at least 2 people to mount these panels to this racking system. And the reason I say that is these panels are very large and they're very heavy. So somebody has to hold the panel in place while the other person tightens down the clamps, whether it's the end clamp or the mid clamps. And something else, a tip I would like to give you is on the mid clamps. Okay, so you can't really tighten it down until you have the next panel there, right? So in order to hold everything in place, I took some little painter's tape and I put it over the top of the mid clamp and I slid it through the racking rail and I taped it to the panel that's already in place. That way, when we get the next panel, we just slide it gently under and then everything is already in place, and then we just tighten down the mid clamp with the Allen wrench. It made things so much easier to have that mid clamp kind of ready, already in place. Otherwise, you're probably going to need 3 people to do it. Okay, so we do need to ground our system, and EG4 includes earth lugs, which are grounding clips. So these will go on the very end of your rail after your end clamp holds your panel. So what I did is I put 4 of these on my solar array. So each rail at each end has one of these grounding clips. Then you will take copper wire and run it in there and then run it down into the ground with like an 8-foot rebar. All right, so that's it. Okay, so I have my racking system built. I have my panels installed. Now I wanted to let you know that there is no installation guide or instructions in the box when you buy your racking system. So I did include it here. Here's the link so that you can get the PDF file, okay? And then I also put the support email address and the phone number for the company who makes this racking system, just in case you have any issues, all right? Okay, so for those of you who waited till the very end to hear, yes, everything made it through the hurricane. All of my solar arrays are perfectly intact. No damage was done to any of my panels or my racking systems. Nothing moved. Everything stayed in place. And like I said, we had some really serious wind gusts. I mean, it was getting a little scary for a minute, but everything stayed perfectly intact and everything is in perfect shape today. Thank you, God. All right, well, thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Like and subscribe to Grandma's channel. Like and subscribe to Grandma's channel.